The champagne flute shattered against the marble floor. And in that crystalline moment, Marcus Chen realized that some silences are louder than any applause. He stood at the edge of the grand ballroom, his borrowed suit suddenly feeling 2 sizes too small. The Riverside Community Gala was the kind of event where tech moguls rubbed shoulders with philanthropists, where a single handshake could change someone's fortune. Marcus had scraped together every favor owed to him, just to get through those gilded doors, because somewhere in this room of 500 influential people was someone who just might give his daughter the chance she deserved. The invitation had come through Mrs. Patterson, the principal at Oakwood Elementary, who believed that Marcus's daughter, Emma, despite being only 8 years old, had the kind of mathematical brilliance that shouldn't be confined to their underfunded, school's cramped classrooms. There would be representatives here tonight from the Hutchison Foundation, which granted full scholarships to gifted children. It was Emma's shot at a real future, and Marcus would walk through fire to give her that. But first, he had to survive this room. Marcus had been cleaning offices in downtown high-rises for 6 years, ever since his wife Sarah died from cancer, leaving him with a 3-year-old daughter and medical bills that still haunted him. He'd learned to be invisible in spaces. Like this, the man who emptied trash cans and scrubbed toilets while the world's important people conducted their important business. Tonight, though, he needed to be seen. He was scanning the crowd for anyone, wearing a Hutchison Foundation badge, when the CEO appeared. Vincent Grayson was everything Marcus wasn't. Tall, silver-haired, wearing confidence like a second skin in a suit that probably cost more than Marcus earned in 3 months. He was the founder of Technova Solutions, a company whose software Marcus had actually used in his former life as an IT consultant, before medical bankruptcy had reshaped his entire existence. "You look lost, friend," Grayson said, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. A small crowd had formed around him, admirers, business partners, social climbers. "Let me guess. You're with the catering staff? Because I specifically asked for the crab puffs 20 minutes ago." Scattered laughter rippled through the nearby guests. Marcus felt heat creeping up his neck, but he kept his voice steady. "No, sir. I'm a guest." "My daughter—" "A guest?" Grayson's eyebrows rose theatrically. He looked Marcus up and down, lingering on the slightly frayed cuffs, the shoes polished within an inch of their life but clearly years old. "How democratic of the organizers. Tell me, did your invitation come with instructions on which fork to use?" More laughter now, louder. Marcus's hands clenched at his sides. He thought of Emma, probably already asleep at Mrs. Patterson's house, her homework spread across the kitchen table. "I'm here because my daughter is exceptional," Marcus said quietly. "She's 8 years old and doing calculus. She taught herself 3 programming languages from library books. She deserves a chance. And I'm here to find someone who understands that potential isn't limited by zip codes." Grayson swirled his champagne, looking amused. "How inspiring. The American dream, right? Let me give you some free advice, friend. People like you, and I mean this kindly, people, like you don't belong in rooms like this because you don't understand how the world actually works. Potential is common. Everyone thinks their kid is special. What matters is connections, pedigree, the right schools from the start. You can't polish that kind of disadvantage away with library, books, and wishful thinking." The crowd had grown larger now, sensing drama. Marcus saw a few uncomfortable faces, but more were nodding along or watching with detached curiosity, like he was entertainment between courses. "My daughter," Marcus began, then stopped. A different voice had entered the conversation. "Pardon me," the woman said, and the crowd parted slightly. She was perhaps 70, elegant in a simple black dress, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Marcus recognized her from the Foundation's website, Eleanor Hutchison herself, the steel magnate's widow who'd turned her late husband's fortune into opportunities for gifted children across the country. "Mrs. Hutchison," Grayson said, his tone shifting to something oily and deferential. "We were just having a conversation about—" "I heard what you were saying," she interrupted coolly. "I was curious to hear more from this gentleman, actually." "You mentioned your daughter knows programming languages?" Marcus nodded, his throat tight. "3, ma'am. Python, Java, and JavaScript. She's teaching herself. I can't afford the fancy classes. but she learns from videos and books, and she practices whenever she can on the library computers. Impressive, Eleanor said. And you mentioned calculus? She got interested in it because she wanted to understand how roller coasters work, Marcus said, and despite everything, he couldn't help smiling. She's obsessed with physics and engineering. Last month, she built a model bridge for her school, project that could hold 200 pounds. Used nothing but popsicle sticks and geometry. With respect, Mrs. Hutchison, Grayson interjected smoothly, I'm sure the child is bright for her circumstances, but there's a difference between hobbyist interest and genuine academic potential. The foundation's resources are limited and should go to students who've already proven themselves in rigorous environments, not— Mr. Chen, Eleanor interrupted, ignoring Grayson entirely. I noticed the book in your jacket pocket when you came in. May I see it? Confused, Marcus pulled out the small paperback he'd been reading on the bus. It was a Spanish language learning guide. Yes, ma'am. And Mandarin. I already speak English and Vietnamese. My mother was Vietnamese, and I've been working on French and Spanish. The library offers free language programs, and I figure the more I can communicate, the more opportunities I might find. More ways I might be able to provide for Emma. He hesitated, then added quietly, plus, I want her to see that learning never stops, that even when life knocks you down, you keep growing. Something shifted in Eleanor's expression. Would you indulge an old woman's curiosity? Could you say something in each language? Marcus glanced around at the crowd, now silent and watching. Grayson looked irritated, but Eleanor's gaze was steady and kind. In English, Marcus began, his voice gaining strength, I would say that my daughter taught me that brilliance isn't about where you start. It's about how fiercely you pursue knowledge and how bravely you face challenges. He switched smoothly to Vietnamese, the language of his childhood. Mi toi jan luon noi rang giao, duk la mon kwa mahongai ko de leji. My mother always said that education is a gift that no one can take away. Then Mandarin, which he'd learned during late-night study sessions after. Emma went to bed. 我们可能没有钱，但我们富有梦想和决心. We may not have money, but we are rich in dreams and determination. French came next, the words flowing with quiet dignity. Chaque langue que j'apprends est une porte que j'ouvre pour ma fille. Every language I learn is a door I open for my daughter. Finally, Spanish, still imperfect but earnest. Le enseño a mi hija que el respeto y la bondad valen más que todo el dinero del mundo. I teach my daughter that respect and kindness are worth more than all the money in the world. The ballroom had gone completely still. Marcus looked at the faces around him and saw expressions he couldn't quite read, surprise certainly, and something that might have been shame. Eleanor Hutchison smiled, and it transformed her entire face. Mr. Chen, I've been funding scholarships for gifted children for 23 years. I've seen every kind of parent walk through my doors, hedge fund managers, celebrities, politicians. Do you know what I've learned? She turned to address the crowd now, her voice carrying across the ballroom. The best predictor of a child's success isn't their family's bank account or their parents' alma mater. It's whether they have someone in their life who shows them. Every single day, that learning matters. That growth matters. That treating people with dignity matters. She looked at Grayson pointedly. Mr. Chen is working multiple jobs, raising a daughter alone, and still finding time to expand his own mind. Not because anyone's watching, not because it will impress anyone at a gala, but because he understands what real values are. Eleanor turned back to Marcus. I'd like to meet Emma. Would next Saturday work for an interview? I have a feeling she and I will have a lot to talk about. Marcus couldn't speak. He nodded, his eyes burning with tears he refused to let fall. As for you, Mr. Grayson, Eleanor continued, her voice cooling several degrees, I believe Technova was planning to make a substantial donation to the foundation this year. Grayson's face had gone pale. Yes, we were considering. Consider harder, Eleanor said crisply. And while you're at it, consider what kind of leaders we really need in the technology sector. Hint, it's not people who mock janitors at charity events. She offered Marcus her arm. Mr. Chen, would you join me for dinner? I'd love to hear more about Emma's bridge project. As they walked away together, Marcus heard the whispers starting behind them, the shocked murmurs. But he also heard something else, a slow clap, starting from somewhere near the back, then spreading. Applause, genuine this time, filling the ballroom. 3 weeks later, Emma received her acceptance letter to the Hutchison Academy, full scholarship included. But that wasn't the moment that stuck with Marcus. It was the evening Eleanor came to their tiny apartment for tea, sat at their second-hand table and listened to Emma explain her theories about quantum computing for 2 straight hours. It was watching his daughter's face light up when she realized that this woman, this powerful, brilliant woman, was taking her seriously. It was Eleanor saying, as she left, "Marcus, you've already given her everything she needs. We're just here to help with the rest." That night, after Emma was asleep, Marcus pulled out his French textbook and started studying again. Because Eleanor was right, the learning never stopped. And every door he opened for himself was another door he held open for his daughter. Sometimes the room does go silent. Sometimes kindness speaks louder than cruelty. And sometimes the person everyone underestimates is the one who changes everything.